Welcome to the first season of Pinellas County Schools podcast, Building Tomorrow, Finding Your Why. I'm your host, Ron Schnell, and through our conversations, we are asking the experts about their experiences with career and technical education programs in our district. Moreover, we hope to dive deep into the stories of how participants in these programs find their motivation, their why. Research reveals that students who engage in meaningful experiences in their education, particularly career and technical programs, produce higher grade point averages, graduate on time, attend class more, find fewer dropout conditions, and experience fewer discipline challenges. Our conversations aim to explore the potentials for our learners who join these programs and help our listeners make their decisions for a better tomorrow. Our conversations begin with insights from the future-ready after-graduation professionals, such as business partners, advisory board members, and representatives from continuing education arenas. Topics include how these programs enhance career-ready job skills, evaluate experiences for future pathways, and gain access to continuing education through things called articulation and industry certification. Next, we'll take the conversation to the parent perspective with our From the Home Front segment. Here, parents of students who found a career and technical education program share how they became involved. We'll learn about their journey and how these experiences impact their child's pathway. Let's begin building tomorrow, finding your why. With me, I have the professionals in the post-graduation field, and we're going to talk about a few things that might help us understand the value of our career and technical education programs. If I can, I'll have our panel introduce themselves and tell us where you're from.
Hey, good afternoon. My name is Wendy Chavez. I am an assistant director at Pinellas Technical College, Clearwater campus.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Amanda Daniels. I am the content specialist for health occupations and family and consumer sciences for Pinellas County School Board.
Thank you.
And I'm Patty Durrell. I'm the CEO and founder of Rock Solid Fitness, a personal training studio in Dunedin, and I sit on the advisory board for the Palm Harbor High School University Medical Magnet program.
And thank you for being here. Appreciate all of your amazing experience. And so along that line, can you share with us how you became involved with career and technical education? And we might as well just start with Ms. Chavez.
Okay, so I am a transplant to Florida. I am in my 6th year here in Florida in the education system, and up north I was involved in CTE in a school district that I was with for 17 years. And part of my tenure there was in career and technical education. Upon leaving the district up there to move here, I was a director of a very small career and technical education center that actually had a nursing school, and along with automotive and several other programs. But I took the jump from K-12 into career and technical education when I started reading about the skills gap. And the assistant superintendent for career and technical education in that district had a lot of great things to say about career and technical education, and I bought in, and I interviewed, and I made the jump from K-12 to CTE, and I haven't looked back.
Awesome. And so for our listeners, there is a little bit of a distinction between our kindergarten through 12th grade programs and then our adult education programs. And as Ms. Chavez was saying, she's very tied into the adult education programs now in our community. Thank you. Dr. Daniels?
So I'm actually a pediatric nurse practitioner by trade. Did that for a long time. Actually, I still work. But about 10 years ago, got into the education side of nursing. I was teaching at St. Petersburg College in the area, and just involved in training up our next generation of nurses. I just think that's very important. I want somebody that's going to be taking care of me, that's well qualified.
Nice.
And then I got the opportunity to move into the high school level, and that's really where I got involved with career and technical education in the high school level. teaching at one of our local high schools, and then also with Pinellas Technical College, helping start an LPN program. I have a really big passion. I'm a child of two parents that went back to school. I watched my mom graduate when I was in 6th grade and my dad when I was in 7th. And it was life-changing for our family for them to go back and get degrees to help, make a difference for our family. And so I feel like that's a really important thing. So recently, So recently I got the chance to be promoted and work on the district level within career and technical education. So I'm very excited.
And welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. L?
Yeah, there was a need for an advisory board member, and one of my things is giving back to the community. I had a lot of help in my life and my career, and kind of not the same type of program, but someone had recommended to me that I do some career searching before I jumped into college, and it was some of the best advice I got. So any way I can give back and help our future be better is kind of what I'm about. So that's how I got involved.
That is awesome. I have a kind of an idea of what I'm thinking our programs do for our learners. But it's one thing for me to say it. It's another thing for the professionals to be the ones in the room sharing these. So from your perspective, how do our career education programs prepare our students for their next steps after graduation? Doctor, would you have an idea about that?
Yeah. So what I really think it does is it gives them a leg up, especially I think nowadays not every child is a university-bound child. I think for a while there it was go get a 4-year degree but I think we're seeing a lot more kids staying closer to home, going to schools that are close to home, and when they really know what their passion is from an early age, it helps motivate them to go to school and get these first educational steps, and then allows them to get out into the communities that they live, and they can serve in those communities in a job that they have skills in because they develop them in career and technical education, and then they can continue to advance themselves and advance their families while they're serving the communities. So I feel like the community is investing into them. They're giving back to the community, and it's this cycle of just how they can build themselves and build up the community.
Awesome. Ms. Chavez, you work directly with our adult learners, and are we helping fulfill that as they come in and stay in the community, as was mentioned?
We are. We are absolutely changing lives on a daily basis. Some students come to us first generation of their families to graduate high school, first generation of the family to attend a post-secondary, any type of post-secondary education. And as we say at PTC, career in a year. Oh. And so more likely than not, depending on the program, we can get you very well educated, very strong skills in an entry-level position in a variety of different programs, anywhere between 10 and 15 months. Wow. And so, as students come and go and they're successful, we see them, especially nursing, walk in the door with no knowledge, but they've been told that that's, a strong field to go into for the, the need that we are seeing, the nursing shortage, and, they go for it, and they come in not knowing anything, and they come in with various thoughts and attitudes, and we see a tremendous amount of growth in all of our students, especially the nursing students. Their program is a little longer, so we get to have them there a little longer. But they're changing the trajectory, as to Amanda's point, of their lives, of their families' lives, of the generations before them. To set a better path to the future for even their children.
And that's great to hear, because to become a practical nurse, mm-hmm. They don't necessarily have to go to a college. They don't necessarily have to have that heavy overhead of debt, mm-hmm. To be out in the field working in his 15 months, somewhere in there. Was that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. Now, as an employer in our community, I'm hoping that we are satisfying the needs of businesses.
Yes. We just had 2 students at our place this morning who came out to kind of shadow and see what was going on. And they get to see how professionals conduct themselves. They also get to see what that career might look like on the other side of graduation. And just on a personal note, when I was changing careers, I worked in the corporate world for a long time as a manager and was looking to change careers and thought I wanted to be a nurse, and mentioned that to a doctor who was in the same company I was working for. And he looked at me and he was like, "Patty, I do not see you as a nurse, but I see you as a physical therapist." And it was so long ago I had no idea what physical therapy was. And he did something similar that you do at the high school. He exposed me to different career tracks. And when I was done, I was like, I am not a nurse, but this physical therapy thing is really cool. And he completely changed the trajectory of my life and my career. And so I feel like that is the same service that you all are doing at a younger age, helping kids, professionals, adults figure out what they want to do in a passion place rather than I think you'd be good at this, or this is a good place where you could make a lot of money. I think it's great what I see happening.
That's definitely high marks for us. Thank you very much. So kind of in closing, I have one more question that I'd like to share around the table, and that would be, what advice would you give to a student who would come to you for some direction regarding their future or educational pathways? Anybody want to jump right in?
I'll jump right in just
Thank
to
you.
piggyback on what I said. I think that being exposed to things you think you might like to do and going out in the field and seeing people actually doing that and spending some time in that career is really important, because we have an idea, like Mrs. Chavez said, we have an idea of what we think things are, but then when you get out there, it's different. And so if you spend all this time and all this money in a career that you're not going to be happy with, I think that's a shame. And I think you guys are preventing that from happening. So I always tell everyone, go. If you think you want to do something, go find someone who's doing it and follow them around and see what that life is really like. So I think that's great advice. And then make sure you're a professional. Always make sure that you present yourself professionally. You know how to spell things and write things and talk about things and look people in the eye.
Well, and that's a wonderful segue, because we understand that the students are required to do English, math, science, and social studies, and the feedback from our business partners is there's a reason for the English courses, there's a reason for math and social studies and science. And the funniest thing I did hear one time was, well, how does social studies fit into this? And the teacher I was speaking to came back and said, well, I have my students look up the laws pertaining to our business. I thought, okay, well, we're hitting on all cylinders here. Any recommendations you might make, Doctor?
No, I would just reinforce what Patty said. And, just coming out of the classroom, I can think of 2 students in general. One who swore up and down, left and right, she was going to be a nurse. And that was her plan. And she was in my LPN Foundations course. And at the end said, well, that was very nice. Thank you. I have no interest in moving on.
It happens.
Yeah, and it was great, though, because instead of spending a year or 2 in college or waiting until she got into a nursing program and then figuring it out, she was able to make that opportunity now, and now she's excited applying for other colleges that she wouldn't have applied for and making changes. And on the opposite end, I had a student who's at PTC right now, Clearwater, and thriving. From what I hear. And she was not interested in nursing. She took the class because her friends were going to take it. She was somewhat interested in the medical field, but didn't know. And she just sought me out recently and said that she wrote her college essay about me and said that she was so inspired by the class and that she's just fallen in love with nursing. And now she's at PTC and she just absolutely loves it. And she can't wait to be a nurse. And she would have never known that. She probably would have never even chose nursing as a career had it not been just an elective per se in her school that she was able to take. So it opened up a door she never even realized was there. So I think that that's what these type of career and technical education programs allow, is to figure out maybe this isn't for me, or open up doors I never even realized. And the whole professional piece.
Yeah.
We make them dress in their scrubs or in their chef suits or in their,
Absolutely.
and they come and they learn how to speak and talk and just all those soft skills that I think that being part of professions teaches you.
And I totally agree that both of those are wins. The
Yes.
student who finds out that this might not be for them, and then the student that's fully passionate about the program, they've both made a positive mark. Ms. Chavez, any recommendations that you might make for somebody coming to you and saying, hey, I was thinking about?
So first, I would like to say there is nothing wrong, not a thing wrong with not knowing what you want to do, even if it's graduation day. My path to education, to the seat where I sit now, was very long and very expensive. I have 2 degrees I do not use, but one of the degrees, my bachelor's degree in accounting, did allow me to get into teaching business education while I was working on my master's in teaching. So it's a whole path that I found that really worked for me after I figured out what it was that I wanted to do. So, thank goodness, I guess, for the accounting degree. I never used it. I did teach, I did teach business education and math enrichment and some other things based on that degree and coupled with my master's in teaching. But I also have an associate degree in paralegal studies. Never used it a day. I just had no idea what I wanted to do, and that's okay. But the good thing is, now that the social stigma, I feel like, has lifted away from career and technical education, it's okay for students to want to go into, some type of technical field. And so, come get your career in a year. Figure out, something to do quite quickly until you figure out what it is you want to do for the long haul, right? So if you get into nursing and you decide to stick it out and you don't really want to do that, well, you can work as a nurse while you go to school for something else, or while you learn a new trade, just like an auto mechanic, or a web developer, or a cybersecurity specialist. Figure out a quick path to education, to an entry-level something that will get you in the door, and then that can carry you through while you're, seeking whatever it is you've found that you feel like you're going to be passionate about.
Absolutely. Well, I'd like to thank my experts in the field for our post-graduation segment, and I appreciate you all being here.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
And welcome to our next segment, From the Home Front, where we find out the parent perspectives on career and technical education. It is my pleasure to have a couple more guests in our studio today. If you don't mind taking a moment and introduce yourself and tell us about the program that your learner came from.
Sure. I'm Frank DeCristofaro. My daughter is Sarah. She goes to Richard O. Jacobson Technical High School, and she is in the nursing program.
Hi, I'm Dawn Williams, and I actually had 2 children go through programs in Pinellas County Schools. They've now graduated. My son went to Tarpon Vet through the Vet Academy, and my daughter went through Palm Harbor University High School Medical.
Awesome. Mr. DeCristofaro, I'm going to ask a question that I kind of set up in here just a little bit. And I see from Sarah's records that she didn't do all of her learning in Pinellas County Schools, that you came from out of the schools. And so how did you happen to find the Richard O. Jacobson program for her?
So, in the very beginning, she went to private school for kindergarten and half of first grade. Then we were able to get her into Gulf Beaches, the magnet school that just opened up at that time. And the biggest issue was junior high school. So we all know how tough junior high school can be. And
Sure.
I didn't know that the program in Florida was set up different than from probably what we're used to, where we grew up, where you were zoned for a school. So she went to Plato Academy. She got accepted into that, so we put her in there through junior high school. When it came to high school, she's very good with animals, she's very good with people. Doing the nursing is something that she enjoys, and to finding a program that something that she enjoys was a big plus. And I came from I did not go to a conventional high school as well. I came from a vocational technical high school as
wonderful.
well. Yes.
So you have better insight than most of us here.
So I knew exactly what to tell her and what to expect and how to expect it and what to expect, like how what I did in high school actually carries on to what I'm doing now, and I'm 52 years old and in the same profession. So
yeah, that's high marks. That's definitely wonderful. And then tell me about your two learners, your children. I hear one's maybe still in the field and the other one learned that this maybe wasn't for them.
Exactly. But kind of taking off what Mr. Christopher said, middle school was the time where my kids were starting to say, like, this is what I think I want to do. So we went to the Saturday, fairs and walked around and tried to help them make a choice that I thought would help them be excited about high school. And my son had always said since he was young he wanted to be a veterinarian. And I didn't really think he would probably be a veterinarian. I was thinking that's a lot of school and a lot of college. But if I said that, that's Mom saying that, right? So when we went to the fair on that Saturday, he kept saying, I want to go to the tarpon table, I want to go to the vet table. And I was like, just check everything out, be open-minded. And sure enough, nope, I want to go to tarpon vet. And it was great. He went all 4 years of the program. And the one thing, though, that all of our kids get to do is go out and start doing some real world experiences. And so he started volunteering at a veterinary office on the weekends, and he probably did it about 1.5 years every Saturday. And he came to me then one Saturday after I picked him up in his sophomore year, and he said, you know what, Mom, I don't think I want to be a veterinarian. And I went, oh. He said, it's not all puppies and kittens. It's not all, play and fun. Like, they're sick. And, he saw things, and I was like, oh, okay. But because he came up with that, now it was his idea. He still remained in the vet program. He still loves animals to this day, but he chose a different path. But because he chose that, he felt good about that, and that was a good thing. Whereas my daughter, also in middle school, wanted to be a nurse, started going through the nursing program, got experience out. They go out to like nursing homes. Maybe your daughter's already had some hands-on experience, and she would come home and tell me every day, I got to shower someone, and it was like, this is not glamorous, right? But you could tell that nailed it for her, that was, okay, this is what I want to do. And she is a nurse to this day. And she's so passionate about the program that she comes back and speaks to students and talks to them about, going on to nursing school and what it's like and all of that. So it's pretty cool.
Thank you. That kind of wraps into the question that I have for you. So I'm going to ask Mr. DeCristofaro here about Sarah's experiences that you're aware of. Any hands-on learning, or maybe part of a leadership program, maybe a competition club or capstone projects that you've been exposed to for her?
She's into sports, right? And she likes being part of a team. I wish, and I try to instill in her, what you put into something is what you get out of it, and you just can't just skate by. So you like the nursing program, there's a lot to go into this nursing program, and there's a lot of doors that you can open in specialty fields. We all know you could go into private practice, hospitals, specialty stuff like that. And I wish that she would take the initiative to do what your kids did, your son who went every Saturday and volunteered. And colleges do look at that, and I try to instill that into Sarah. And typical 16-year-old kid, with a boyfriend and stuff like that, and that's what they want to do. And that's fine, But I try to explain, and I'll give you just a brief example. I went to school for automotive. My trade school was automotive, so I got automotive education. And after school, they had this program to where you could work inside the school, or you could work in a shop or do something with the Board of Education. The minimum wage back then was $4.25, right? So,
we remember that.
So I had the opportunity to work for $8.50 in a nice air-conditioned office building, or take the 425 and work in a sweaty shop. And that's exactly what I did, because I was still 17 living at home, and I got to work with the sanitation department of New York and work on the trucks and stuff like that, just for the experience. And I wish Sarah would take that because she wants to do this as a living when she graduates, because next year she's talking about that's when they go to the nursing homes and they go to the facilities and do stuff like that. So I'm thinking maybe, hopefully, when she experiences that, she might get a better idea of like, okay, but I want her to get that experience of physically going in and.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, that is what part of the senior year programs are in our district?
Yes. She does talk about that. She could either go to, like, I think, and if I'm wrong, I misspoke, I apologize, but I think part of it is where you can go to, like, an actual facility and work with people, and part of it is going to, like, SPC, where you can actually get college credits instead of going to a facility if you want to go into a nursing thing.
And don't discount the fact that we have technical education in the same programs as well.
All right.
So there are many avenues out there between college and technical colleges and getting out in the field and working for a little bit more than 4 1/4 that we all suffered our first
I know,
jobs at.
Giving up age there, but
Definitely.
my point was that I took what I went to school with and actually did like what your son did, except I didn't do it on the weekends. My weekends were my weekends. But I in the summertime I did go and I got the experience because I knew I would need it later on. And believe it or not, even today, heavy duty equipment is what I do right now. So.
Okay, yeah. Well, these experiences are just amazing for our learners moving forward. Are there any specific experiences or skills that your students have already shown you that's going to help them in making their way forward with their path? I mean, we've heard from your learners that they certainly found some heavy-hitting skills during their time. Are there any particulars that you can think of?
Well, I definitely think it builds confidence. At the beginning, when your daughter will get out, first they're going to practice on, their peers, and then when they go out, the first time they go out to the nursing home, or to the vet's office or whatever, they're really scared. But then as they start to learn things and I see the application of what they've been learning in the classroom, it really does build confidence in them, and also teamwork. So you mentioned your daughter was in sports.
She likes the teamwork.
And
instead of solo sports, she likes the teamwork.
And she'll find that in medical, too. That's what my daughter, who ironically is an ER nurse, and she said it's a team atmosphere. That's what she likes about it, because everybody has to work together as a team.
Absolutely. That's a great skill to have.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to wrap up with our last question, and this would be you're the sage on stage, if you will. You're the parents that have had these experiences, and so I would ask, what would you say to the parent? You're at a social event, and they're saying, "Hey, what did your kid do? We're thinking about this." What kind of advice do you think you might be able to instill in the next generation?
I would say learn a skill. Because we all see what's going on today, especially with people in college debt, and regardless if it's getting taken away or not, people still have this college debt, and they don't have much to do with their degree unless they're in a specialized program with a specialized degree. With the nursing, with the vet, right, you go anywhere. They have the opportunity that a lot of people do not have, regardless of what walk of life you come from. So to get into a program that's not only going to give you your academic skill set that you need just to get through life, you're also getting a skill set that's going to carry you through life if you choose to do this. So I highly recommend. Now, I'm not discrediting college. If your child wants to learn this skill and then go to college for something completely different, that's great, because then you still have something to fall back on. Because you really can't unlearn what you've already learned. You might forget some things, but you really don't unlearn it.
True.
So that would be my advice: is let them do this, and if they still have the opportunity to go to college,
sure.
But at least have them with a skill, because there are more people now that have skills that their jobs are in demand more so than having that college degree.
Yeah, so I think of two things that kind of came up when I would talk to people. One, kind of to go back what I talked about if your child feels passionate about something, let them explore it. Because I'm okay that my son decided in high school not to be a vet. He didn't go to college. We pay tuition, and then he dropped out of college. He decided early on, and he made that decision. So I think that's important. So don't discount if your child has a passion. Let them explore that and see where that goes. But also, there are programs that that my kids were in. You can leave and do something entry level and not go to college. You could have been a vet tech. My daughter left high school with her CNA. She could have gone right to work. She chose to continue on into nursing. So I think that these programs also have industry certifications that they offer, and you can leave high school ready to go right to a job if that's for you, if you need to work during college, or if you want to continue on the college path, you can go that way. So, it just has a lot of options, and it gives you those skills.
Yeah, well, thank you. We really think that Pinellas County is doing a wonderful job of providing these opportunities for our children and our learners. And I want to thank both of you for being part of our From the Homefront Para Perspective segment.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We want to thank all of our guests for joining us today, and all of you, our listeners, for taking a look inside at Building Tomorrow, Finding Your Why. If you or someone you know would like to share your career and technical education experiences, please contact me. We hope you'll share our podcast with a friend, add a like, and subscribe so you don't miss our next episode.